Thank you, Sevi. Actually, I wanted to start before we start talking about all the tips for the life purpose. I have a set of tarot cards. I just want to get a collective message. Pat doesn't have sound, so the others can hear me, Pat. Maybe you have to check on your end what is the situation there. In the meantime, I'm just gonna shuffle my cards. I want a message for the collective of everybody who's here live, but also for everybody who's watching this as a replay. And then welcome also to everybody on the replay. I want a message about what does the universe have to say about life purpose or what's in the way of finding it. Any message that can help us or you. Let's see. Let's see. The universe is taking its time. There we go. Ooh, that's so fitting. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm gonna share it. It's in French. It says La voix intérieure. Now look at that. So in English, it would be the interior or inner voice. But look at this beautiful picture. Look at this powerful woman. She's smiling, she's radiating, and she's connected to what I would call her higher self. You see up here, there's all this light, right? So she's deeply connected to a higher power. It might be her higher self, might be the universe source, whatever you like to call it. But she's just deeply connected also to the earth below. You see the ocean there. She's connected to the element of water, which is all the emotions. So she's in control of her emotions. She understands, all the seasons of her emotions, because the moon governs our emotions. And I feel like there's also the moon symbol here. So this woman goes with the seasons, with the rhythms. She understands all of that, and she's highly in tune, highly intuitive. And that's how she retrieves information about where she needs to be, who she needs to meet, what's her life purpose, right? And that's one of the tips. So thank you, universe. You already took one of my tips. But yeah, amazing card. Hi, Diane. Okay, so as we talked about this, I will just try and share my slides. 1 second. No, it's not here. Let's see where I find my slides. There. Okay, so let's see if that works. I will make it bigger here. So I hope you can all see my slides and you can still hear me. I hope you can. So today, obviously, as you know, you signed up for it. We're talking about finding life purpose, but also because some of us already found it. I know some of you already here found it. Sometimes it's more about refining it or like revamping it a little bit. I went through several, phases in my life after I found my life purpose where I needed to tweak my life purpose and add additional elements or take out others. So today we talk about all of that, and you can feel free to just drop in any questions also in the comments that I will answer either as I see them or after I finish my slides. Okay, so let's see if this... Yes, so today's discussion, I will introduce myself for those who don't know me yet. I will share all the 10 tips and how to work with me in case you're interested. So, this is me in Mauritius. That was so I can work location independent nowadays, so I don't need to go to any office. I can work in my office if I want to, but I don't have to. So that was very important for me to find or to have a life purpose that made this possible. So I love the quote that I put above there. Your life has purpose. Your story is important. Your dreams count. Your voice matters. You were born to make an impact. And every one of us, we all were born to make an impact. Some people obviously make huge impacts in the world. Yeah, think about people like the Dalai Lama, for example, right? And others, they just make small impacts in their families, in their communities, maybe some even on a country level, continent level, global level. So there's never like we can go as far as we can dream it, right? As long as we can imagine it, we can create it. That's another one of my favorite quotes by Walt Disney, I believe. So if we can imagine it, we can create it. So just a little bit about me, and sorry about my voice. I had a sore throat this last week and it's still kind of there, but I hope you can hear me all right. So my name is Lais, and nowadays I am a psychic healer and women's empowerment coach, but that's not where I initiated my career. I was in business, in corporate. I studied business. So yeah, very, very different path. So part of this presentation actually excites me because I went through all these steps that I'm sharing myself multiple times, so I know it works. And this is to encourage everybody here to also dig deeper and to take one or more of the tips I'm going to share to implement it in your own lives. But it's absolutely possible to find our life purpose, to live our life purpose, etc. So I created a 21-step system that I work with that helps me as well as my clients to co-create with the universe, to manifest their desires, their dreams. That includes a lot of healing of abundance blocks of any kind. And so we can heal the past, the present, and create the future that my clients desire. And that includes obviously finding a life purpose for some of them that wish to focus on that. Voila, that's just a little bit about me. So let's dive into tip number 1. Very important. And that's exactly how I started my journey. It started by healing myself, and that included healing all of my past. And there was a lot to heal. It was not just even me, it was my ancestral lines, it was past lives, so not just even this life. I had just so much baggage. And if you see the picture there on the left, that's how I felt at the age of, I think 30 years. When I was 30, I felt really heavy. I had no idea what my life purpose was whatsoever. I had just quit corporate. I had tried everything out. I had tried creative roles, more scientific roles, analytical roles. And then I even quit that and I went into NGOs. I moved to Azerbaijan, where I had a boyfriend at that time, and I was working for different NGOs because then I thought, maybe I have a mission to go and save the world and work for NGOs. But it didn't work for me simply because I just can't have a boss. I don't like having boss. I don't like having an office, and I don't like all the routines of getting up at the same time, getting to the office. So for me, it just didn't work. So I felt heavily burdened and highly disillusioned that my life hadn't turned out the way I wanted it to be. And so my path started by breaking down on my mother's bathroom floor and crying. And I am an ugly crier. I don't even look pretty when I cry. And I was sobbing and I was just praying to some higher power. Back then, I wasn't praying yet or believing in anything really. So I was just praying for some guidance, and the guidance I received, it was an inner voice, just like the card I took, the card you saw at the beginning, that talked about this inner voice, la voix intérieure in French. And that voice said to me, heal yourself. And I Googled, and I had this intuition it should be Reiki back in that time, and everything just clicked, right? I moved to Thailand because that's where I wanted to heal myself. And voila, I just started for a whole year. I was healing myself, but also practicing on other people. And what I found that by healing myself and healing all those, what I call core wounds, like those really painful situations in our lives, the traumas, the things that really can trigger us, that are really painful to even just think about or to feel through, those core wounds, I really shed some light onto them, learned to love them, and did a lot of healing around them so that I could turn them into what I call nowadays a superpower, right? Because once we do that, we overcame something major and we can help other people then through the same situations because they know we've been there, they know we can handle it, they know we can give advice or expert advice even. And so I encourage everybody here, in case you do not know what your life purpose is yet, to think about all those painful moments you went through or might even be going through right now, and to just have the optimism and the just like an intention to one day when you heal these wounds that you can make them into superpowers and help other people, right? So that's one thing to think about. And healing the past, there's so many things we can focus on. There can be stuck emotions in our energy systems that are our own, but also other people's emotions. So if we are an empath, a highly sensitive person, we easily become a sponge to other people's energy. And part of my job is to then help all these people to release all these emotions that make us feel heavy and stuck and that lower our energy levels. And that includes being connected to some collective emotions. That also happens. Then there's limiting beliefs and thoughts from the past, but also from now. There is ancestral healing, as I said. There is the parent story we can heal if we had difficult relationships with them, or if our parents among themselves had a kind of codependent or difficult toxic relationship. There is past lives and karma. That's a huge topic, past lives and karma, where we can go back and heal all sorts of traumas we faced. And yeah, that's just a few ideas that you can think about to heal your past and think about your core wounds and what kind of superpower they could become if you heal them. So yeah, past life information, I just mentioned it. So here we go into more depth. It's part of one of my programs, online programs that actually some of you here participated, so you know it. Past lives, it's not just about healing traumas, but it's also about going back in time and seeing what we were up to, right? What were our gifts? What were our talents? What were we doing? And so for me, and this is for me, it's about tweaking now life purpose, because once I had become a healer and I was working as a healer for many years, at some point I felt like, something is still missing there. I don't know, right? And so I went into past lives again to retrieve that information. And I saw several past lives where I was a writer. And I really went back to that emotion. I felt how happy I was when I was writing. And so it occurred to me, yes, I should incorporate more writing into my life. And so nowadays I work as a healer, but I also write a lot. I work books for kids and I write for my own work. I write my diaries, my journals. I write a whole lot, and it keeps me happy. It keeps me energetic. And so without the writing, I wouldn't feel complete. Let's put it this way. So that's what was missing in my life, was to add the writing element to it. And tweaking a life purpose can be like that for you as well. If you already found your life purpose, but you find it's heavy, or you feel a little bit disillusioned, or there's something missing there, you can go absolutely into your past lives and see what else you were doing there, and then just bring it into this life and do that, right? As a hobby or as a side gig or even part-time. For me, it's almost equal amount of writing to equal amount of working with clients. It's that important to me. So, past lives. If you have any questions about past lives or anything, just feel free to put it in the comments. And then, as I said, the universe already showed that card that I wanted to talk about. So it's about meeting our higher self. And just as in the card, it's this inner strong voice that we learn to listen to once we are highly connected to the higher self. Sometimes we don't even realize it, but that inner voice that we already have been listening to is our higher self. And the more we actually work on this, the more messages we can retrieve, we can visualize the higher self. So I always lead my clients into a deep meditation where they can meet and visualize their higher self and retrieve a whole lot of information about life purpose, but also about tweaking it, adding elements to it, or taking out other elements that are not working any longer. Sometimes we outgrow our life purpose. That happens too, right? We outgrow a certain type of client. We want to work with a different kind of client, or we go into a different niche market. So there's all sorts of tweaks we can retrieve from the higher self on our next moves and how to work it. So it's an excellent source because our higher self is that part that has never ever incarnated here on this crazy planet. She's always up there in the higher dimensions. It's our source energy. And she's amazing. Our higher self is absolutely divine and amazing. And I can only encourage you all to connect with her frequently and just enjoy that energy and that exchange of love and information as well, if you wish to retrieve any information. And Gitte is saying the creative writing, I now realize that I need to have a regular routine. Yes, exactly. Make it a priority. If you like to write, or anybody here who likes to write, or any other creative expression, be it painting or photography, just add more of it into your daily life because it can absolutely make you happier, more balanced. Yes, great. So that's the higher self. And then a bit similar to higher self is meeting our spirit guides and angels. So that was the part that really excited me once I was living in Thailand, was to meet all my guides and angels and to just first of all know that I am loved, that I'm guided. And that was just very healing. Just, in meeting them, I was healing on every level and I was excited. I started talking with them and they helped me to create my website. They gave me my business name. So I meditated and I retrieved so much information about how to set up my business, about how to progress in my love life, and all sorts of tips. So it's an absolutely amazing wealth of information we can get from all these different guides. And with these guides, we can up level as well. So as we up level, we might get new guides. So it's always worth to check in again if you've been on this journey for a long time to see if there's new guides coming in and to welcome them, because as you're up leveling your life or your business, it might be worth to connect to these newer guides and retrieve all the new information you need to move ahead. And also having a little goodbye ceremony for the old guides, right? Sometimes I have clients, they're really sad to let go of their old guides, but once they're connected to the new ones, they see how it is better for their situation right now. And well, I actually included here a little picture. I have a angel and spirit guide program starting on Monday. If anyone is interested, it starts Monday and it's a 5-day online program and you can find more about it on my website. And in any case, I will be running this program a few more times. So just for you to be aware. And then next tip. Sometimes it's very simple, right? We start with an intention. So often we lament the fact that we are feeling lost or that we don't have a life purpose. But have you really set the intention? And have you created space for that inspiration to flow through you? So many times we walk through life with our routines and we are really busy and stressed and we have our career, our work, our to-do list, our families, kids and whatnot. And so are you mindful enough to be able to retrieve that information, to get that clarity, or is your mind just full, right? I like this little word game, mindful or mindful. Because if the mind is full, then there's just no space for your guides or your higher self, the universe itself, to flow this information through you. So it's of utmost importance to set the intention, but also to create that space. So if you don't have it yet, if you don't have that space, you can absolutely create it, even if it's just 10 minutes a day where you just slow down and breathe, go for a walk, go to nature. Nature is absolutely amazing to just ground and to root ourselves and to make that space. So yes, this is very important. And the next tip is something that I keep doing for myself. I like to play around with the universe. I always ask for things or for guidance, and then I ask for a sign to see if the universe is listening or not. So I ask for specific signs or just general signs, and they always come in the most amazing way. So some people, they leave it up to the universe, what the universe sends, and they keep mindful, right? They keep that space so they can receive that sign, be it a feather on their way, or they keep seeing the same repeating numbers everywhere, or it will just be a sign where it's the universe. Or some people ask for specific signs, and then that specific sign comes, and you can even give the universe 1 day or up to 3 days to deliver. And so you can either ask the universe, is it now the time to ask about my life purpose, and see what kind of signs you get? Or if you already have an idea about something, you can absolutely ask the universe, is that my right path to take? And see then if you get a sign for that. So there's a lot of opportunity here to play around, get guidance, and get going. Sometimes all we need is like a little encouragement and feel like we are divinely guided and supported, and then we just go ahead and trust that we are on the right path. Okay, then also important is to be open for change and also let go of control. So sometimes we are, at least I was, so heavily inside my corporate career. I had my routines, I had everything every day, and I was just running around like a robot, and there was just no space for me to welcome any change in, you see. So I was just burning out on every level, be it physically, emotionally, and then even my love life sucked back then. So I was just a big overwhelm. But at the same time, I just kept in that comfort zone because the salary came every month. Obviously, if you work in corporate, you get a salary. You knew how to pay your bills every month, so there was no insecurity. And so once we move, just in our thoughts for now, right? Once we move our thoughts out of this comfort zone and we allow ourselves to imagine what life could be like if we move out of that comfort zone, then the magic happens. And it can even be little tweaks here and there that we can take on a everyday basis. We can take a different route from work back home, a new route, or we can try cook different foods with different flavors, different spices. We can just try and do things differently. So there's a lot of things we can get out of this control or the routines, and just to welcome in more magic. So the universe knows we are talking business, right? We are right there waiting for guidance, for support, and we're ready to embrace change in whichever way it comes because we trust that it's in our highest good. So, tip 8, who are the people you admire the most? So, just think about it now for a few seconds. Who are the people you follow online, or whose blog you read, or maybe it's certain people you always read their book, or people in your career. Maybe there's a type of woman in your career you really admire her, or a certain type of mother who has a lot of kids and still seems not to go insane. So just think for a moment, who are the people you are following or admiring, or who are highly inspirational? And maybe you even want to write it down so you don't forget, but just think about those women. And what I find is that whoever we admire or whoever inspires us, we can absolutely do the same or better than the person. So let's see, for example, if you admire someone who is great at giving speeches like TED Talks, for example, and you really admire that person because you feel like you cannot give a speech ever. But if you admire this kind of person, there is a message there that you can absolutely do it. You can have a beautiful speech, you can train yourself to do that, and you can probably become highly gifted with that and rock the stage, be it TED or any other speeches in your company or for your business, if you are self-employed. If you admire people who are writers and you secretly wished you could write as well, you definitely have the gift as well. You just have to activate it and keep going. So most of the cases, just think about it. All the qualities that person has and you feel you don't have, just put the word yet. I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet, but I can have it. So some people like to have a vision board with people who inspire them, because then they want to emulate the sort of qualities those persons have, be it strength or creativity or endurance, whatever it is, you can absolutely have it too, and maybe even become better at it. And this is such a simple tip actually, but it's highly, highly, highly efficient when we think about it. It can give a lot of clues. And Pat is just sharing speeches, Toastmasters.org. Yes, so I think that's an organization that Pat is part of, and they train people how to give speeches. And everybody can go and check out this link if that is something you're interested in. I think they are quite well represented in every single city in the world. I think I saw them even when I was living in Bali earlier this year. They have workshops there. So exactly, if anybody's interested to top up their presentation skills, speaking skills, then Toastmasters.org is a perfect place to start. Tip 9, you would be surprised as to how the energy in your home can affect your levels of inspiration or creativity. So since I've been clearing many people's homes or offices, after I did that, they all told me I feel so much more inspired now, so much more creative, because energy, just like physical things in our homes, can just feel very cluttering to us, and it can take our inspiration away. It might make us feel lethargic or stuck. So a cluttered home also represents a cluttered mind. So if your home feels very cluttered, I can assure you that your mind probably is also very cluttered. And the first step then is to start decluttering. And I don't even need to mention Marie Kondo. I'm sure everybody heard of her, but she's just one of many, of course, who teach people how to declutter their homes. And sometimes it's sufficient to just start with like one certain area of one room and go through like one place and then continue until that room is done. And so it can be a whole project for a whole year if you have a big home, or if you have a small flat, it can be done obviously in a week or so. And it's also something I do regularly for myself, and I always feel such a shift in energy when I declutter my home physically. Because yes, in order to feel inspired, we need to feel well, and we need to feel well at home where we spend a lot of time in. And also a little cute tip that I like to give is to have a little life purpose altar. So once you've set the intention, you're ready to receive guidance, to receive inspiration, you're ready to work with the universe on that, your guides, your higher self. Have a little dedicated space, like what I call life purpose altar. But yeah, have a dedicated space. You can put your intention down on paper, you can put some crystal stones on it, or a candle, or some plants, whatever you wish to make it beautiful. And as you pass that corner in your home, you always get that energy, and you remind yourself, and you can immediately remind yourself to slow down, to make space in your mind. It's just a beautiful way to keep mindful at all times that we are looking to tweak or to find our life purpose. So, tip 10, and that I find is almost my favorite one. It's follow your curiosity. So that's what happened to me. My life purpose, when I found it didn't come because I ever thought I would become a healer. That was not part of my plan. Otherwise, I would not have studied business for so many years. But I was so disillusioned with life, and I suddenly heard there's energetic healing. I heard about chakras. I had no idea what chakras were, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Thailand. I'm going to balance my chakras. I was so curious to know what it is and how to balance chakras. So I just went ahead and I followed that curiosity. And that led me to be the person I am today. It's because I was so curious that I followed that inner voice that we talked about. And that led me to what I'm doing today. So sometimes finding a life purpose, it just sounds so difficult, right? It's like, woof, life purpose. But we can make it easier for ourselves if we just say, you know what, I'm just going to follow my curiosity and maybe, have a little passion project here or a little hobby to start with. And I picked out a quote here from Elizabeth Gilbert, one of my favorite writers. That's the author of Eat, Pray, Love, by the way. And the story here is that she had already had all her success with that book and the movie then that was made out of it, and she felt very burned out with writing, and she was supposed to write a new book, but she just had no idea what, and she felt creatively blocked and not in a position to write anything. So she just said, okay, I'm gonna leave it, I'm gonna leave this project, and for now I'm just gonna concentrate on my curiosity. And at that time she was living in a place with a big garden, and somehow she got curious about gardening, and she started reading about gardening and flowers and how to have a beautiful garden. And so she started with that project, and she made a beautiful garden for herself. And through all her research and reading, she got into, I don't know, medieval times gardening and women who were pioneers in, I don't know, botanical intelligence. I don't even know how to call it. But she suddenly felt highly inspired to write a story about a woman in the past. I don't know what century it was actually anymore. And that became the book, The Signature of All Things, that she won, I think, an award for, or was highly acclaimed. And that was only because she just allowed herself to stop what she was doing and to follow her curiosity. And I think that's the case for most of us. We just get curious, and when we allow ourselves, we don't block ourselves to follow those little nuggets of inspiration, amazing stuff can come out of it. So I don't know if anybody here ever had this kind of situation. You can share below in the comments what happened when you followed your curiosity. Maybe it can inspire others here to do the same. So yeah, feel free to write up a little bit here. I would be curious too if anybody ever faced this. Let's see. Yeah, so the quote, by the way, is be curious. It might lead you to your passion, or it might not. You might get nothing out of it at all, except a beautiful long life where all you did was follow your gorgeous curiosity. And that should be enough too. Elizabeth Gilbert. And that's so beautiful because it takes off all this pressure of, oh my God, I have to find my life purpose and be amazing and be of service. Because sometimes it's just about following our curiosity and have passion in life, do the projects that really light us up. And, who cares if you found your life purpose at the end or not? Because you had a happy life. You did all these beautiful things. You always followed your inner voice. And, maybe that was exactly what you were supposed to be doing. So I thought it's a nice way to also end the 10 tips, because sometimes we take life purpose and all these things far too serious, and we get far too depressed when we feel like everybody has a life purpose apart from us, because that's how I felt when I was 30. I felt really like an ugly worm without a life purpose, and life just sucked. And it doesn't have to be that terrible, because sometimes it just takes time, and sometimes, as I said, and as the quote says, it's just about having fun and, yeah, following our curiosity. So Gitte is saying, I get so connected to the creative juices running, and then I'm just really excited and full of inspiration and ways to take inspired action. Yes, absolutely. So, for all of us here who are creative, and all of us are, every single human being is creative unless we block it, right? But for those of us who allow this creative energy to flow through us, it's highly inspirational. And then, yes, I too, I get excited and I feel happy. So for me, being creative is like part of my life purpose. I have to be creative or else I go nuts. I feel really depressed if I cannot express myself creatively. So thanks for the share, Gitte. That's beautiful. Yes. So let's see. All right, so we are at the end now of my presentation. So I just want to quickly share that I have a 3-month program. I call it the VIP one-on-one healing and coaching program. And I work with many different topics, but finding or refining life purpose is one of them. And it includes everything we discussed here, the healing of the past, all the connecting to guides and angels, to the higher self, retrieving all sorts of information, developing psychic abilities that everybody also has, unless we blocked it, right? Then we can unblock it. And to create something we wish to create in our lives or something we wish to be more of. So my special offer for anybody who's watching this live or as a replay is that if you sign up for this program, then you get a free psychic guidance session with me for 1 hour where you can ask anything about your life, business, health, career, anything. We can dig into it. So, voila. And for those of you who want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook. My business page is Abundant Chicks by Lai Stefan. My group is Abundant Chicks. My website is here as well, and my email, so feel free to get in touch if you have questions. But voila, that's about me here. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions or you have anything else to share. At the moment, I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes to answer any questions, to give any guidance. And actually, I am trying to get out of this slide here. There we go. So I hope you can see me again. So let me know. Oh, my coffee is getting cold. Gita is saying it's her love shot, the creativity, right? Yes. So, in case there's no more questions or anything else, I obviously wish everybody a nice weekend. And I hope that you can take one or more tips and got inspired to keep going, to keep refining or finding your life purpose, to, get guidance from the universe, your higher self. You're welcome, Sevi. You're welcome, Gitte. Yes, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for showing up and for spending some little time with me. It's always nice. And yes, wonderful weekend. Okay, my dears. So I'm gonna end this webinar. I'm gonna go off, finish my coffee, and I ended my day for now, and I'm gonna chillax this weekend. Mwah. Lots of love to everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.